everyone. In this video, we're going to go over how to find the journal/scholarly article for your assignment. So if you would take notice here, the journal scholarly article, at least 8 pages in length or approximately 4,000 words. The author's citation page does not count in the total, and then you're going to upload that. So we're going to go into our library guide, which is also linked in your course shell in case you need the link to get to that. And we're going to go right to the articles page. So this is where we're going to be going for your newspaper article, your journal article, as well as your magazine article. All right. So starting from here, we're going to go into academic search. Now, I've chose a topic that is not on your social justice list because I didn't want to give an unfair advantage to anybody in class by selecting something that I knew was on your list. So I'm actually going to use a different social justice topic that's very popular within libraries, and that is called the digital divide, and it has to do with who has access to tech and internet and those types of resources versus those who don't. So I'm going to put in digital divide, and you can see as I start typing, you will get some predictive language here. So you can say digital divide specifically in education. There's broadening the term where we're looking at either digital divide or the phrase digital gap or digital inequality and so on, that any of those would work. You can also start another term. So you could add the term social justice to your search as well with your other terms if you would like. I'm actually going to put in social justice, activism, or social change. I'm going to leave it broader than just social justice. The other thing is you need to make sure that you're finding a full text article. So down here, we're going to click on full text. And for this journal article, we want to go ahead and select peer reviewed. That will narrow it in terms of what results you're going to get back. Limit it for the most part, and then on the next page I'll show you some other limiters that could help us. I usually say last 5 years. That's a good time frame. If you are doing your search and you are finding that you are getting no results or very few, I encourage you to reach out to me at that time. You can play around with the amount of time if you want, but for the most part, if you're not finding a good set of results within the last 5 years, it may be more your search strategy than the actual time frame. And we know from our assignment that we need to have at least 8 pages in length. So what I'm going to do is actually for the journal article, I'm going to say less than 20 pages. Because the journal articles are typically very long to begin with. So 8 pages is not a hard thing to get to often. So we're going to limit, so we're not pulling up 30, 40 page articles. So again, just to review, my terms are up here. We want full text, peer reviewed, past 5 years, and then for the journal, number of pages will be less than 20. So let me do my search and we'll just see what happens. All right. So you'll see our terms at the top. Some of our filters are listed here. So the full text, the peer reviewed, the past 5 years. This one is going to be really helpful, not only for this particular article search, but also if you're looking for your magazine or your newspaper, because under source type, you can select that. Typically with peer-reviewed articles, you're only going to get academic journals, but sometimes some other things sneak in there. So I usually say check the source type, make sure it's also academic journals. So my result set is 68. This is a fairly narrow topic, and so that's actually, I think, a pretty decent set of results. Now let's take a look at one of these journal articles, just to give you an idea of what they look like. So if I were interested in this specific title, so the digital divide, African American college students navigating digital spaces to affect social change. The titles of journal articles are typically very descriptive. And then the subject matter of the journal articles is usually very narrow. So it's not like a broad overview. You're going to get usually some original research being done, or at least a literature review of the research that's out there. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll get some additional information like who wrote the article. When we're looking at the journal articles again, you're going to be looking at oftentimes teams of researchers who wrote the article together. Here's your source. This is the name of the journal, Sojo Journal. It was published in 2021, and it's 14 pages long. You don't want to just look at this number and say, okay, I know it's more than 8 pages, so it's okay. You actually need to go into the article, and I'll show you why in just a second. If you scroll down a little further, you're going to get something called an abstract. So the abstract is a preview of the article, just like a movie preview would be if you were going to the movie. It's enough to tell you what it's about without giving too much away. So it's not a summary. It's just more of here's the, kind of the major topics of what you're going to be looking at. I think, especially for this assignment, that when you read the abstract, that you feel like you have a good understanding of what they're saying. If it feels too technical, or if a lot of the terminology and vocabulary that's being used is unknown by you, I mean, a lot of it, then you might want to go and try to find a different article, because when you get into the reading of the article, it could be a difficult time getting through it. So reading that abstract will give you a first indication if it's something that you feel like you'll be able to read through. And then there's a little bit of additional information. Below, you will see the PDF of the article. In this case is present. You have your title. There's your authors and the colleges or universities that they are affiliated with. There's your abstract at the beginning. Now, in these articles, you should have already watched the scholarly versus popular video before you came in here to look for your articles, and it would have gone over a little bit of this, but it's important for you to understand sort of what are some of the main areas of the article. So you'll have an introduction. Sometimes it's called a background. It's going to set the stage for the article. It's going to explain why they decided they needed to do the research. And so that can be fairly long. Oftentimes there's a literature review. What that is they are going to sort of summarize and report back out on all the other research that they found on this topic. And then they're going to walk through some of the major concepts in this case. Your methodology is actually the study. So how was the study done? What is the method or the methods that they used? So they will often talk about who was involved. In this case, who are the participants, and how they collected the data and what the results were. As you continue to go through this, they're going to go through a few different aspects of those results. And then you get to the discussion section. This section really kind of puts a bow on everything. It talks about, okay, so summarizing what we found out, as well as what are the implications of the research that we found. Maybe we recommend changes in policy or procedure. Maybe there's recommendations for further study. But this section is more conversational than a lot of the article will be. And it really sort of summarizes things well and explains what are the next steps. After that, you're going to typically see references. So a lot of research went into this. And this is why we always look at the actual length of the article, because sometimes these references could be 6, 7, 8 pages long. So when you're on this page and you see that it says it's 14 pages, if 7 of those pages are a list of references, then your article isn't long enough. It's only 7 pages. So you don't want to go just by this number. You want to actually go in and take a look at the article. Once you've found an article you like, there's a couple things that you need to do with that. First, you're going to want to download it. I believe you need to upload these in your course shell, so you can download it here to the PDF. Again, that is this circle right here. The other thing you're going to want to do is grab your MLA citation. So you'll see these little quotation marks here. If you click on that, you're going to come in. Now, this defaults to APA citation style, and you need MLA. So you're going to click this down arrow, and you're going to scroll down to MLA. The MLA is right here, and you can copy that to the clipboard and then paste it onto your working document for your works cited. There is a video towards the end of this section that is about how to create your works cited page. Okay, so if you have any questions or have any difficulty finding articles or verifying if they are the right length, if you have found articles and maybe you forgot to grab the citation and you need help relocating that, please let me know.